Well, hi children. In previous class, we have studied the digestion of the food. So today, I began. Last time I began with the absorption of digested product. Fine, absorption of digested product. It must be okay. So absorption definition already I told you that it is a process by which the end products of digestion passes through the intestinal mucosa into the blood or the lymph. You know that the food will get completely digested in the small intestine, and from there it must enter into the blood and then it will get circulated to the different parts of the body. So absorption means food from the small intestine through the villi, it will enter into the blood, or it may be lymph also. So this process is called absorption. Fine. And this process is carried out mainly by three processes which I already told you. It is transported mainly through the passive, active and facilitated transportation mechanism. So active process means here the energy is used and it can take place even against the concentration gradient. Passive, it will take place according to the concentration gradient, that is along with the concentration gradient, and it will not need any energy. Facilitated transport mechanism means with the assistance of certain other molecules the things will get transported, especially fructose, you have to remember. So list we have in the coming slide. A small amounts of monosaccharide like glucose, amino acids and some of the electrolytes like chloride ions are generally absorbed by simple diffusion. Diffusion definition already you know, that is movement of particles from their higher concentration to the lower concentration, and it is a passive process. The passage of these substances into the blood depends upon the concentration gradient. Of course, wherever the passive transportation is occurring, and it depends upon the concentration gradient. From the higher to the lower, usually the molecules will be moving. However, some of the substances, so here it is not visible. Let me just shift this little bit to the upper side so that you can see. Let me disappear from the screen. Fine. Well, so however, some of the substances like fructose and some amino acids, among 20 amino acids are there. Among them, some amino acids are absorbed with the help of the carrier ions like sodium. So here sodium is assisting for the transportation of certain substances like fructose and some of the amino acids. So this is called facilitated transport. Hope it is clear. So what did I told? Absorption definition. What is absorption? Absorption of digested food from the small intestine into the bloodstream through the villi, right? And by what all processes absorption will take place? It take place mainly by three processes, that is passive, active and facilitated. First we have taken here the passive process. Passive process usually will take place along with the concentration gradient, that is from higher to the lower concentration, and it is not energy consuming process, that is it does not need energy. And then we have taken the facilitated transport. Here some of the carrier ions like sodium will help in the transportation of certain substances like fructose and certain amino acids. Fine. ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ? ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಫುಡ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಆಗೋದು. ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ? ಸಣ್ಣ ಕರಳೊಳಗೆ ಫುಲ್ ಡೈಜೆಷನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಫುಡ್ಡು. ಹೆಂಗೆ? ಅಮೈನೋ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್, ಗ್ಲೂಕೋಸ್, ಫ್ರುಕ್ಟೋಸ್, ಫೈನ್, ಗ್ಯಾಲಕ್ಟೋಸ್, ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್ಸ್, ಗ್ಲಿಸರಾಲ್ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿರ್ತದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ವಿಲ್ಲಾಯ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಅದ್ರ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಅಥವಾ ಲಿಂಫಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಟಿಯಲ್ ಅದ ಆ ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಟಿಯಲ್ನಾಗ ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಗ್ಲಿಸರಾಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ಡ್, ದಟ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಸಿ ಲೇಟರ್. ಸೊ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಒಳಗೇನು ಬರ್ತಾಯಿಲ್ಲ, ಕರಳಿನಿಂದ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಒಳಗೇನು ಬರ್ತಾಯಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೇನಂತಾರೆ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್ 3 ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್, ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಮತ್ತು ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೇಟೆಡ್ ಅಂತ. ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಬೇಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಗ್ರೇಡಿಯಂಟ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ವಸ್ತುಗಳು ತನ್ನ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಸಾಂದ್ರತೆ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಿಂದ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಸಾಂದ್ರತೆ ಪ್ರದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತವೆ. ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ, ATP ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೇಟೆಡ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ದು ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ವಸ್ತು ಅಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದು ಯಾವ್ದು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ? ಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಸೋಡಿಯಂ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಯಾವುದು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಫ್ರುಕ್ಟೋಸು ಮತ್ತು ಕೆಲವು ಅಮಾನೋ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್. ಫ್ರುಕ್ಟೋಸ್ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ಫೈನ್. ನಾವು ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಗೋ ಟು ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ the transportation of water depends upon the osmotic gradient. Transportation of water, it depends upon the osmotic gradient. Osmosis, andre already you know what do you mean by osmosis. That is the movement of water molecules from their higher concentration to the lower concentration through semi-permeable membrane. That is called the osmosis. This in detail you will read in water relations in plant. So active transport occurs against the concentration gradient, hence it requires energy. Already I told you, active transportation occurs against the concentration gradient. That is, from the lower to the higher, the substances must get transported, and as it is moving from the lower to the higher, it need energy. So various nutrients like amino acids, monosaccharides like glucose, electrolytes like sodium are absorbed into the blood by active mechanism. Certain amino acids, fine, and certain monosaccharides like monosaccharides like glucose, electrolytes like sodium, all these are absorbed by the active mechanism. Fatty acids and glycerol being insoluble, you know that fatty acids and glycerol, they are insoluble in the water. They cannot be absorbed into the blood. They are first incorporated into small droplets called micelles. See, when the bile will act on the lipids, it will break the larger lipid molecules into the smaller lipid molecules, and those smaller lipid molecules are called micelles. Fine. And these smaller fragments of lipids, they will move to the intestinal mucosa, and they are reformed into very small protein coated fat globules called the chylomicrons, which are transported into the lymph vessels, which are present in the villi, and they are called lacteal. These lymph vessels ultimately releases the absorbed substances into the bloodstream. Maximum absorption takes place in the small intestine. Fine. Till now, what did I told? You have studied about the passive transportation and you have studied about the facilitated transportation. Fine. And next left is the active transportation. Active transportation, it takes place with the consumption of the energy, that is ATP molecule, and it will occur from the lower to the higher concentration. What all substances will get transported through the active process? Like monosaccharides like glucose and sodium ions and certain amino acids. Fine. They will get transported from the intestine into the bloodstream through the active process. Now, the fatty acids and the glycerol, they are insoluble in the water. They are not soluble. So how do they get transported? See, you know that the lipids will get broken down into small fragments, micelles, in the small intestine with the help of the bile, and these micelles further, when they are transported to the small intestine, they will move to the mucosal layer nearer to the wall of the small intestine. Fine. There they will get coated by a protein coat. fatty acids and glycerol will be there, the small fragments will be there, they are covered by a protein coat. Fine. And those protein coated fatty acids and glycerol, they are called chylomicron. You have to remember what is the protein coated fatty acids and glycerol particles called. They are called chylomicrons. So these chylomicrons, they are easily transported from the intestinal mucosa into the lacteal of the villi. Fine. They are not taken directly into the bloodstream, they are taken into the lacteal, then they are released into the bloodstream. Fine. That is how the fatty acids are absorbed in the small intestine. So maximum transportation will take place in the small intestine, and I told you that in the ileum maximum villi are present, and which will increase surface area for the absorption of the food. Hope it is clear. ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಿಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ನಾಗ ಏನು ಓದಿದ್ರಿ ನೀವು? ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟೇಷನ್, ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೇಟೆಡ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಓದಿದ್ರಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟೇಷನ್ನಾಗ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಬೇಕಾಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೇಟ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್, ಸೋಡಿಯಂ ಅಯಾನ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪಿಂದ ಫ್ರುಕ್ಟೋಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಕೆಲವು ಅಮೈನೋ ಆಸಿಡ್ಸ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆದ್ವಂತ ಓದಿದ್ರ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಬೇಕು, ಹೌದಾ? ಎನರ್ಜಿ ATP ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತದೆ ಈ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟೇಷನ್. ಮತ್ತು ಇದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಸಾಂದ್ರತೆ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಿಂದ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಸಾಂದ್ರತೆ ಪ್ರದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಫುಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಎಂಥವೆಂಥವು? ಗ್ಲೂಕೋಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಕೆಲವು ಅಮೈನೋ ಆಸಿಡ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಸೋಡಿಯಂ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಇವು ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತವೆ. ಆದರೆ ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆಸಿಡ್ಸ್, ಗ್ಲಿಸರಾಲ್ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವು ನೀರಿನೊಳಗೆ ಡಿಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ನೀರಿನೊಳಗೆ ಕರಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅವು. ಅದಕ್ಕೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ, ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆಸಿಡ್ಸ್ ಗ್ಲಿಸರಾಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟೈನಾಗ ಬಂದಾಗ, ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟೈನಲ್ ಮ್ಯೂಕೋಸಾ ಹತ್ರ ಬಂದಾಗ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೊಂದು ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಕೋಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಒಳಗೆ ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಗ್ಲಿಸರಾಲ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಮೇಲೊಂದು ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಕೋಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಆ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಕೋಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿ ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಮತ್ತು ಗ್ಲಿಸರಾಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ಗಳಿಗೆ, ಕಣಗಳಿಗೆ ಏನಂತಾರೆ? ಖೈಲೋಮೈಕ್ರಾನ್. ಆ ಖೈಲೋಮೈಕ್ರಾನ್ ವಿಲ್ಲೈ ಒಳಗೆ ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಟಿಯಲ್ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ನಾಗ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಟಿಯಲ್ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ಫೈನ್. ವಿಲ್ಲೈ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ನೋಡೋ ಒಳಗೆ ನೋಡಿರಿ ನೀವು. ಆ ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಟಿಯಲ್ನಾಗ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಮ್ನಾಗ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. ಹಿಂಗೆ ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆಸಿಡ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಗ್ಲಿಸರಾಲ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ? ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟೈನ್ಯಾಗ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಫುಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟೈನ್. ತಿಳಿತಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್. ಇದು ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಫುಡ್ ಇನ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಡೈಜೆಸ್ಟಿವ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್. ನಿಮ್ಮ NCERTನಾಗ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ಅದ. ಇದು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಇಲ್ಲಿ? ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಡ್ರಗ್ಸ್, ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಡ್ರಗ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಕಮ್ ಇನ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಮ್ಯೂಕೋಸಾ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೌತ್ and lower side of the tongue are absorbed into the blood capillary lining. So in the mouth, or you can say buccal cavity, certain drugs are absorbed. Certain drugs which will come in contact with the mucosa of the mouth, they will get absorbed in the buccal cavity. In the stomach, what all things will get absorbed? Water, simple sugar and alcohol. See, water, simple sugar and alcohol will get absorbed in the stomach. And you know that small intestine, it is the main important organ where the maximum absorption of the nutrient will take place. So here all the absorption of the nutrients, all nutrients are absorbed in the small intestine, like glucose, fructose, fatty acids, glycerol, amino acids. All these are absorbed in the small intestine. Fine. And large intestine, mainly it absorbs water, minerals and the drugs. Fine. Water, minerals and the drugs. Just you have to remember this for MCQ. ಏನೇನು ಹೇಳ್ದ? ಮೌತ್ನಾಗ ಏನು ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಆಗ್ತದ? ಕೆಲವು ಡ್ರಗ್ಸ್, ಓನ್ಲಿ some drugs which will come in contact with the mucosal layer, which will get absorbed. And in the stomach, water and simple sugar, alcohol. Water ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಆಗ್ತದ? ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಒಳಗೆ, ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟೈನ್ನಾಗ. ಫೈನ್. ಮತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ಲೂಕೋಸ್, here also simple sugar means nothing but glucose, and alcohol will absorb in the small intestine. And all nutrients, whatever the end products of digestion are there, they are absorbed in the small intestine. What all things? Glucose, fructose, fatty acids, glycerols, amino acids. And large intestine, this you have to remember for MCQ, because usually we will say that large intestine, it will help in the elimination of undigested food, that is fecus. But from that undigested food also it will absorb water, minerals and certain drugs. Fine. So this is about the summary of absorption of nutrients in different parts of the digestive system. Hope understood. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಡೈಜೆಸ್ಟಿವ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ದು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಭಾಗದೊಳಗೆ ಏನು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಯೆಂಟ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇದು ಒಂದು ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ಅದ ನಿಮ್ದು NCERT ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು. ಬಾಯಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಏನು ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಕೆಲವು ಡ್ರಗ್ಸ್, ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಡಿಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಡ್ರಗ್ಸ್ ಮ್ಯೂಕೋಸಾನಿಂದ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಒಳಗೆ ವಾಟರು, ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಶುಗರ್ಸ್, ಆಲ್ಕೋಹಾಲ್ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ನಾಗ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಕರಳ್ನಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಯೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಡೈಜೆಷನ್, ಗ್ಲೂಕೋಸ್, ಫ್ರುಕ್ಟೋಸ್, ಫ್ಯಾಟಿ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್ಸ್, ಗ್ಲಿಸರಾಲ್, ಅಮೈನೋ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟೈನಾಗ ವಾಟರ್, ಮಿನರಲ್ಸ್, ಡ್ರಗ್ಸ್ ಅದು ಅನ್ಡೈಜೆಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಫುಡ್ಡಿಂದ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಹೋಪ್ ತಿಳಿತಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್. ದ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಫೈನಲಿ the absorbed substances, they finally reach the tissues which utilize them for their activities. This process is called assimilation. Absorbed, the food will get absorbed, that is food in the sense that digested, completely digested, simple molecules are absorbed from the villi and they will enter into the blood, and with the blood they will get circulated. And whilst the nutrients, while they'll be moving with the blood, so wherever the requirement is there, those nutrients will just pass into them, pass into those tissues or tissues into cells. So the use of the digested food by the cells is called assimilation. One mark question. Assimilation ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಡೈಜೆಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಫುಡ್ ಇರ್ತದ, ಕರುಳಿನಿಂದ ವಿಲ್ಲಾಯಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ವಿಲ್ಲಾಯಿನಿಂದ ಬ್ಲಡ್ಡಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಹಾಯ್ದು ಹೋಗ್ತಿರ್ತದಿಲ್ಲ, ಹಾಯ್ದು ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಯೆಂಟ್ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಒಂದು ಲಾರಿ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದೇನು ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಊಟ ಬೇಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾರ್ಸಲ್ ಅದು ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಹೋಗೋ ಬೆಳೆಗೆ ಯು ನೋ ದಟ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಪ್ರತಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ ಬ್ಲಡ್. ಯು ನೋ ದಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅವರ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಗಾಟ್ ಅ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಸಪ್ಲೈ. So every part of our body will receive nutrient through the blood. So the blood, wherever is necessary, the nutrients are taken from the blood into the tissue. Tissue antandrenu cells itself. Fine. In the cells, those nutrients are taken and those are used by the cell activity, internal body activity you can say, as we are made up of infinite cells. So the use of the food by the cell for its activity is called assimilation. You have to remember. Fine. Assimilation ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಡೈಜೆಷನ್ ಆಗಿ ಫುಡ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾವಿಲ್ಲ ತನ್ನ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಸಲುವಾಗಿಂದ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಸಿಮಿಲೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಒನ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. ದೆನ್ ದ ಇಜೆಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಫೀಕಸ್ into the outs, the ejection of the feces or fecus, it depends upon your pronunciation, to the outside through the anal opening is a voluntary process and is carried by a mass of peristaltic movement. See, the undigested food which is called as fecus, which is acted upon by the symbiotic bacteria, its color changes and it will become mass. Fine. So this mass will go out of the body through the anus. And defecation, or which is also called ejection, it is a voluntary process. When the anus is filled with the undigested or the waste food material, the nervous system will send the message to the brain that the body is in need of defecation. It is a voluntary process. Fine. It is a voluntary process. So that is about the defecation. And you know that the anus opening is also controlled by the sphincter muscles. Anal opening is also controlled by the sphincter muscles. Hope understood. Now, disorders of digestive system. Disorders of digestive system. So mainly the inflammation of the intestinal tract, it occurred due to the infection, like whatever bacteria, some of the helminths, fine. So this is a common in the children and even in some of the areas where hygiene is not maintained. So let me read out the sentence. The inflammation of the intestinal tract is the most common ailment due to the bacterial or viral infection. The infections are also caused by the parasites of the intestine like tapeworm, endoparasites, fine. Tapeworm, threadworm, hookworm, pinworm. It is a common inflammation. It is the common. Apart from this, we have got other disorders also which are given in the NCERT. Let us go through them. From this slide, what important terms you have to remember? Assimilation and defecation. Assimilation, it is the use of digested food by the cells for its activity. Defecation, it is the egestion of the undigested food, you can say, or egestion of the fecus is the defecation, and it is a voluntary process. These you have to remember. These two terms you have to remember. Now let me go to the next slide. Well, jaundice. The first disorder what you have is the jaundice. Jaundice, here mainly the liver will get affected. You know that in the liver bile pigments are there which are called biliverdin and bilirubin. If they will not get eliminated in the intestine, then it will come back. It will get stuck somewhere in the liver itself. There are different reasons for this which we don't have. So let us just do not go for that. So those will enter into the bloodstream and the body parts will start becoming yellow. So that is called the jaundice, and this yellow coloration we can see especially in the eye, the sclera of the eye and the skin. Especially when we see the nail bed, you will be knowing. So what is jaundice? The liver is affected, skin and the eye turn yellow due to the deposition of the bile pigment. Bile pigment will get deposited in the blood because of the liver function, because of the liver malfunction, you can say. Liver malfunction ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಅದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟೈನ್ಗೆ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. And you know biliverdin and bilirubin, the bilirubin, fine, they are yellow in color. The pigmentation, the pigment is yellow in color. That is why in the jaundice the body parts will become yellow and the liver will start, it will not work properly. That is about the jaundice. And vomiting, it is the egestion of the stomach content through the mouth. This is a reflex action. It is controlled by the vomit centers which are present in the medulla oblongata. A feeling of nausea precedes vomiting. Vomiting, you know that the content of the stomach will come out through the mouth, and it is a reflex action. You can't control your vomiting. Usually before vomiting you will be having the sense of vomiting which is called nausea, and this vomiting, it is controlled by a vomit control center which is present in medulla oblongata. Diarrhea. Diarrhea, the abnormal frequency of bowel movement and increased liquidity of the fecal discharge is known as diarrhea. It reduces the absorption of the food. In the diarrhea, what will happen? The person will suffer with the loose motion. That is, usually the fecus, the persons will eliminate in the form of solid. It is not so liquid, fine. But during diarrhea, what will happen? The water absorption is not proper. So in the fecus, large amount of water also will get discharged, and frequently the bowel movement will get disturbed. So frequently the person will go for the defecation. It is the diarrhea. Usually we will say loose motion. For the loose motion, many reasons are there. See, when the loose motion will occur, the absorption of the food will get reduced in the small intestine because the bowel movement will be incorrect, and frequently the person will be going for the defecation and the large amount of water is lost from the body. Constipation. It is opposite to the diarrhea. What is constipation? In constipation, the fecus is retained within the rectum of the bowel. Rectum, as the bowel movement occurs irregularly. Constipation, it is opposite to the diarrhea. Here the fecus will get retained inside the alimentary canal, inside the rectum we can say, because of the abnormal movement of the bowel. Fine, it is opposite to the diarrhea. And next we have to go to the indigestion. So indigestion, the name itself will say that the food will not get digested properly. The food will not get digested properly. So here it is due to the improper secretion of the enzymes. Fine. Usually the belly the person will feel that as if his stomach is full, and the causes of indigestion are mainly the inadequate enzyme secretion, anxiety, food poisoning, and overeating spicy food. So these are the causes of indigestion. So these 5 are given in NCERT, and you have to know what all things are given: jaundice, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, indigestion. Jaundice, here liver will get affected and the body parts will start becoming yellow in color due to the deposition of the bile pigment. Vomiting, the content of the food will come out through the mouth, and it is a reflex action. The control center is there in the medulla. And you know that when you eat the food will enter into the digestive system after the mouth, fine, through the peristaltic movement. So during vomiting, antiperistalsis will occur. That is, the peristaltic movement will be in opposite direction, not towards the alimentary canal, it will be towards the buccal cavity. Antiperistaltic it is called. Diarrhea, simply you can say loose motion, and here large amount of water is lost from the body and it reduces the absorption of the digested food. Constipation, it is opposite to the diarrhea. The fecus will get retained in the rectum due to the irregular movement of the bowel. Indigestion, the food will not get properly digested due to the insufficient secretion of the enzyme. Apart from that, other reasons are also there. ಇವು 5 ರೋಗಗಳೇನದಾವಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. ಫೈನ್. ಯಾವ್ದಾವುದು? ಜಾಂಡಿಸ್, ವಾಮಿಟಿಂಗ್, ಡೈರಿಯಾ, ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಪೇಷನ್, ಇಂಡೈಜೆಷನ್. ಜಾಂಡಿಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಕಮಾಲೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಾಡಿ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಹಾಕ್ಕೋತ ಬರ್ತಾವೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಹಾಕ್ಕೋತ ಬರ್ತಾವ? ಲಿವರ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೈಲ್ ಪಿಗ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟೈನಾಗ ಬಂದು ಫೀಕಸ್ ಜೋಡಿ ಡಿಸ್ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಆಗೋ ಬದಲಿ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಎಂಟರ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಆ ಬೈಲ್ ಪಿಗ್ಮೆಂಟ್ನಾಗ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಇರ್ತಾವಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾದ? ಬೈಲಿವರ್ಡಿನ್, ಬೈಲಿರುಬಿನ್. ಹೌದು. ವಾಮಿಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಉಲ್ಟಿ ಆಗೋದು, ಹೊಟ್ಟಾಗಿನ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಾಯಿನಿಂದ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರೋದು, ಅದಕ್ಕೇನಂತಾರೆ? ವಾಮಿಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಕೆಲವು ರೀಸನ್ಗಳಿಂದನೂ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಒಮ್ಮೊಮ್ಮೆ ಸಮ್ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ನಾಟ್ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ವೆಲ್, ಆರಾಮಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಥವಾ ನೀವೇನೋ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ಲಾರ್ದ ವಸ್ತು ತಿಂದ್ರಿ, ಅಥವಾ ನಿಮ್ಗೇನಾದರೂ ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಹೇಸಿಗೆ ಬಂತು ಅಂದರೆ ಉಲ್ಟಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಈ ವಾಮಿಟಿಂಗ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ? ಮೆಡುಲ್ಲಾ ಅಬ್ಲಾಂಗೇಟಾನಾಗ. ಮತ್ತು ಇದು ರಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಷನ್, ಯು ಕಾಂಟ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್. ಫೈನ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನಾಸಿಯಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಉಲ್ಟಿ ಬಂದಂಗೆ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಉಲ್ಟಿ ಸಡನ್ ಅಂತ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ಲಾರ್ದ ಬರೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಫೀಲ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ನಂಗೆ ಈಗ ಉಲ್ಟಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಬಂದುಬಿಡ್ತದೆ. ಹೌದಲ್ಲ? ಆ ಫೀಲಿಂಗಿಗೆ ಏನಂತಾರೆ? ನಾಸಿಯಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಡೈರಿಯಾ ಅಂದರೆ ಲೂಸ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಆಗೋದು. ಡೈರಿಯಾನಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ? ಯೂಶ್ವಲಿ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ವಾಟರ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿಲಿಂದ. ಈ ವಾಟರ್ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ? ಊಟದ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಮನುಷ್ಯ ವೀಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ. ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ನೀರು ಲಾಸ್ ಆಯಿತು ಬಾಡಿಲಿಂದ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅನೆಮಿಕ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಪಾಳಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಲೂಸ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕತ್ತಿತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನೀರು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಕುಡಿಬೇಕು, ಉಪ್ಪು ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕುಡಿಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಎಮರ್ಜೆನ್ಸಿ. ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಲೈಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎನ್ ಎಮರ್ಜೆನ್ಸಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಪೇಷನ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮಲಬದ್ಧತೆ. ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಪೇಷನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಮಲಬದ್ಧತೆ, ಮೋಷನ್ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಆಗ್ಲಾರ್ದು. ಕಾಮನ್ ಭಾಷೆ ಒಳಗೆ ಏನಂತೀವಿ, ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಸಾಫ್ ಆಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಆಗ್ಯದಂತೀವಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಂತರ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಪೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಪೇಷನ್ ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ನೀರು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಕುಡಿಬೇಕು. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡ್ರಿಂಕ್ ಮೋರ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಈಟ್ ದ ಫೈಬರ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಫುಡ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಫೈಬರ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಇದ್ದು ತಿನ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ತರಕಾರಿ, ಆರಿಸಿ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ ನಾಜುಕ್ ಫುಡ್ ತಿನ್ನಬಾರ್ದು. ತಿಂದರೆ ಬಾವೆಲ್ ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿರಲ್ಲ, ಬಾಡಿ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ, ಒಳಗಿಂದ ಬಾಡಿ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಹೌದಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇಂಡೈಜೆಷನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಅಜೀರ್ಣ ಆಗೋದು. ಅಜೀರ್ಣ ಮೇನ್ಲಿ ಎದಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಎನ್ಸೈಮ್ಸ್ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಸೆಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗದೆ ಇರೋದು. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹಸಿವೆ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಹಮೇಶ ಫುಲ್ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕೇನಂತಾರೆ ಇಂಡೈಜೆಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾವು ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಗೋ ಟು ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಟು ದ protein energy malnutrition. Fine. Protein energy malnutrition, PEM. It is called PEM. It is mainly due to the inadequate intake of food which is deficient, mainly the deficiency of protein. Fine. The food which is not having sufficient quantity of the protein lead to the protein malnutrition. It is usually seen in the babies, infants below 1 year and the children. So PEM, mainly two types are there, that is kwashiorkor and marasmus. So protein malnutritions are kwashiorkor and marasmus. Kwashiorkors, it develops in the children whose diet are deficient of protein. So it is common in infants between 1 to 3 years of age. The symptoms of kwashiorkor are retarded growth of the body and the brain, protruding belly, edema means bulging, the fat. The children will become little bit obese due to the deposition of the liquid content, bulging eyes and diarrhea. These are the symptoms of kwashiorkor. Marasmus, it is due to the deficiency of protein and calories, energy. It occurs in infants under 1 year of age. The symptoms of marasmus are mental retardation, lean. The person will become lean and the weak body, dry, thin and wrinkled skin. So this is about the marasmus. Protein energy malnutrition, it is not given in the book, but just I have added in the content, so I am saying you this one. So protein energy malnutrition means it especially occurs in those countries where, in poor countries you can say. In developing countries, mainly like Africa, you will see more images from the Africa. So here the children will not get sufficient amount of protein, and you know that protein are very important for the body. If the child will take the food which is deficient in the protein, the child will suffer with the protein energy malnutrition diseases. So mainly here two types of diseases are there, kwashiorkor and marasmus. Kwashiorkor usually is seen in the children up to 3 to 5 years, you can say, from 1 to 5 years you can say. So here the children will not get sufficient amount of protein, that is why they will become very weak. Their growth also will not be proper and the mental growth also will be retarded. You will see that their belly is protruding, ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಉಬ್ಬಿದಂಗೆ ಇರ್ತದ, ಕಣ್ಣು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಬಲ್ಜಿಂಗ್ ಐಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಸಫರಿಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಲೂಸ್ ಮೋಷನ್. ಮರಾಸ್ಮಸ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯೂಶ್ವಲಿ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಅಕರ್ in the infants below 1 year, just below 1 year child, you will see this marasmus. And here the symptom mainly mental retardation, weak body, dry, thin and wrinkled skin. You just can't see the images of such children. ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಮಾಲ್ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಕೊರತೆ ಇರೋ ಊಟ ತಿಂದರೆ ಈ ಥರದ್ದು ರೋಗ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಅದ್ರಾಗ ಮೇನ್ಲಿ 2 ಥರದ ರೋಗ ಅದಾವೆ, ಕ್ವಾಶಿಯೋರ್ಕರ್, ಮೆರಾಸ್ಮಸ್. ಕ್ವಾಶಿಯೋರ್ಕರ್ನಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಯೂಶ್ವಲಿ ಕ್ವಾಶಿಯೋರ್ಕರ್ ಎಂಥವ್ರ ಕಡೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, 1ರಿಂದ 3 ವರ್ಷ 5 ವರ್ಷ ಒಳಗಿದ ಇರೋ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾವೆ. ಇವ್ರೊಳಗೇನು ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಉಬ್ಬಿದಂಗೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಮೇನ್ಲಿ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಉಬ್ಬಿದಂಗೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಗ್ರೋತ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಮಕ್ಕಳದು ದೈಹಿಕ ಗ್ರೋತ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಮತ್ತು ವೀಕ್, ಮೆಂಟಲಿನೂ ವೀಕ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಫಿಸಿಕಲಿನೂ ವೀಕ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಮೆರಾಸ್ಮಸ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಯೂಶ್ವಲಿ 1 ವರ್ಷದ ಕೂಸೊಳಗೆ ಕಂಡು ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನ್ ಸಿಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋರಿ, ಆವಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಒಟ್ಟ ಫುಲ್ ವೀಕ್ ಆಗ್ತವೆ. ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಗ್ರೋತು ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಗ್ರೋತ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರು ಫುಲ್ ವೀಕ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಫೈನ್, ಈ ಥರ ಒಂದು ಇಮೇಜ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಟು ನೋ, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕೀಪ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈಂಡ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಮರಾಸ್ಮಸ್. ಸೊ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ table. I have a table, so where you can just come to know the hormone, their source, and what do they do, the target organs and the action. So here the slide somehow it is blur. You can see this chart in NCERT also. Gastrin, I told you, gastrin, it is secreted by the stomach, pyloric stomach and duodenum. Find source where it is secreted. Duodenum is given, I told you, stomach only, and it mainly, it will, wait, and the slide is very blur. Disinfection of, it will help in the distension of the stomach on the food entry. Fine. Now the target organ is stomach. So action in ಮಾಡ್ತದ, it will stimulate the gastric gland to secrete the gastric juice. It mainly stimulate the gastric juice secretion and also stimulate the gastric motility, stomach motility. ಏನೇನು ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು, gastrin is secreted from the stomach and its target organ is stomach only, and it will stimulate the secretion of the gastric juice. Fine. Next, enterokinase. Enterokinase, it is secreted from the duodenum, and this also act on the stomach and it will inhibit the secretion of the gastric juice like HCl. So this is about the enterokinase. Sorry, well, next we have to go to the secretin. Secretin, I told this slide is not clear, but what knowledge I have, let me say that according to this, let us not go. Secretin, it is secreted from the intestine, especially duodenum and jejunum, whatever, and this will control the secretion of the intestinal juice. So it is not enterokinase, it is endogastrin. It is endogastrin, or you can say gastric inhibitory peptide. Let us not enterokinase. Enterokinase, it is secreted from the intestine, that you know. So what is this? Gastric inhibitory peptide, which is secreted from the duodenum, and it will inhibit the secretion of the HCl. Secretin is secreted from the intestine. It will control or regulate the intestinal juice secretion. Fine. And cholecystokinin, CCK. This cholecystokinin, it is secreted from the small intestine, and it will regulate the release of the bile juice from the gallbladder. Fine. It will regulate the release of the bile juice from the gallbladder. Fine. Now next is, somehow it has become okay. Next is the, here we have got the enterokinase. Fine. Enterokinase, it is released from the small intestine, and it will also regulate the release of the intestinal juice. So this slide is not clear. Okay, the writing, because it is copied from the book, so it has become very blurred. Let me, then also it is not clear. Just forget this. What you have to remember from this slide, here I tried to make a list of hormones from where they are secreted and their function, which already you know. What all hormones you have to remember? Inen hormone, gastrin, gastric inhibitory hormone, or peptide. You can gastric inhibitory peptide, you can remember secretin, cholecystokinin, and enterokinase. You have to remember enterokinin or kinase. Gastrin ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸೆಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ? ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಇಂದ. ಇದು ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಜ್ಯೂಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ರಿಯೇಷನ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಇನ್ಹಿಬಿಟರಿ ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸೆಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ? ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ರಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಡಿಯೋಡಿನಮ್. ಇದು ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಜ್ಯೂಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ರಿಯೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನದ? ಸೆಕ್ರಿಯೇಟಿನ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟೈನ್ ಸೆಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಇದು ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟೈನಲ್ ಜ್ಯೂಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ರಿಯೇಷನ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ಟೋಕೈನಿನ್ ಯಾವುದು ಸೆಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ? ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟೈನ್. ಇದ್ರ ಕೆಲಸ ಏನದ? ಗಾಲ್ ಬ್ಲಾಡರಿಂದ ಬೈಲ್ ಜ್ಯೂಸ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ನಾ ಎಂಟಿರೋಕೈನಿನ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ just regulate the release of intestinal juice. That's all. That much you have to remember. Fine, let me take this table complete on the screen, but here only it is not visible. For you also it is not visible. Let us forget in the theory class whatever I told, that only you remember. Now let us go to the next slide. See, questions I have taken from the study material itself. So you have to just, I told in yesterday's meeting or AppsCook meeting, I told you that whatever questions, I mean yesterday in the sense second of May, whatever questions will come from the topic what we discuss, so those just you have to mark and answer yourself. Fine. So here just I gave the list of questions. So I think there is no need for me to read them. Hope you will be reading it by yourself. Let me just keep this for 2 minutes on the screen. You can go through. All these questions and answers are there with you people. 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark and 5 mark questions I have taken. And all these answers also you have got. Hope digestion you understood, and many of the concepts from the digestion are deleted this time because of the COVID, but then also I have tried to cover all the points. You have to remember the hormones, you have to remember the hormones of the alimentary canal, enzymes of the alimentary canal, and their functions you have to remember. Fine. And disorders in all the chapters, 4 to 5 disorders are given in the human physiology. You have to learn them. So hope you understood. If any doubt will be there, just you do SMS through the WhatsApp to my number. Okay, hope you understood, children. Bye.